Hi, my name is Kenyana Parrish, and today I'll be speaking about stem cells. Stem cells are undifferentiated cells that can differentiate or change into specialized cells. There are two types of stem cells: embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. Embryonic stem cells are isolated from the inner mass of embryos. Usually this takes place when the embryo is less than 1 week old. These stem cells can become any type of cell in the body. Adult stem cells are found in the body after development. They multiply through mitosis and replenish dying cells and regenerate dying tissue. One form of controversy is derived from embryonic stem cells. These stem cells are taken from embryos that are less than 1 week old. They are taken during a procedure called amniocentesis, which is a procedure used in prenatal diagnosis of abnormalities and fetal infections. They can also get stem cells from spare embryos. Spare embryos refer to those that are not used during IVF or aborted embryos. The embryos are often looked at as things with no moral status. Today I'll be talking about cancer treatments. Stem cell transplants are the most effective in blood or immune types of cancer, such as leukemia, lymphoma, or myeloma. Stem cell transplants are needed when the blood cells or bone marrow have become diseased or damaged and also need to be replaced. Also, chemotherapy or radiation destroy the cancer cells as well as the healthy ones. There are two types of stem cell transplants: autologous stem cell transplant, which uses your own stem cells, and allogenic stem cell transplant, which uses stem cells from a donor. For auto transplants, the process begins with collecting the patient's stem cells from their blood. This has to happen when the patient is in remission. The blood is then processed in the lab to concentrate and purify the cells. The blood is then frozen and saved for later. The patient then goes through a high dose of chemotherapy and radiation. The stem cells are transplanted back into the patient. Autotransplant's advantages are that it conserves more resources since the patient's blood that is being used instead of a donor's blood from a bank. The risk of transmission infection is greatly reduced. Also, a higher dose of chemotherapy can be used. The disadvantages are the high cost of the transplant and also the unused blood that is wasted. For an allotransplant, the stem cells are removed from the donor or gathered from a bank. The patient receives chemo or radiation to kill the cancer cells. The patient then receives new stem cells. The donated blood is usually very fresh with no cancer cells present. Also, more intense chemo can be performed. A major disadvantage is the risk of infection or rejection since our bodies look at these cells as foreign objects. The cells will travel through the body, and eventually the cells will make it to the patient's bone marrow. The stem cells will divide through mitosis to produce new healthy cells.